Hey, so my grandparents they came to the United States back in the '60s, and they had lots of kids. And some of their kids were born in America, and some weren't. So
So wait, they came over in the '60s. Damn,
yeah, yeah, back in
that's
the
way
'60s.
back in the day, bro.
Yeah,
You
They
could
might
probably
have
just
'60s.
invented immigration.
Yeah.
you could probably just walk back and forth, and it was cool.
Right.
No, were they? Did they come over from Lithuania, or what were we talking?
From Matamoros.
Lithuania. It was a good guess, though. It was a good guess.
Close. But anyway, so I wanted to see if you guys could guess which of my uncles was born in America and which ones weren't.
Okay.
Okay.
So just by the names. So so in order of birth, you have Servando, Armando, Rolando, Nando, and Dan.
Your grandparents are so lazy, bro. At the end, they just ended up the second to the last one's just named Nando.
Fernando.
I heard Nando.
Me too. I was like, it kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And then Dan.
And then they were like, fuck this whole rhyming shit. We're just going to name the last one Dan.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Oh, is it short for Daniel? No, just Dan.
Yeah.
It's just
Orlando
Dan?
was right there on the table, man, and they left it on the table. They wanted Dan.
They walked away.
They walked away. Dude, so it's just Dan? It's not Danny
Dan.
or Donald or
D-A-N.
fucking shit.
Dan.
Wow.
D-A-N-N,
That's
two
insane.
N's.
I skipped out on the Ondo for him, huh?
Dude.
Denando.
Man, can you
Hey,
imagine
Fernando.
growing
they're
up
like,
with all your brothers and then you're left out like that?
they like come to the States and like, what's a traditional American name? Dan.
Dan.
Dan fits the bill, I
Yeah.
think.
Hey, but by that time it was like 1978, I think, or something like that. So they had been here for a while already.
They're
That's
Americanized.
crazy.
It's cultural appropriation, bro.
Cultural
Dude.
appropriation.
Dude,
Yeah, you
so
try to
like,
fit in.
so I ordered Mexican food today, right? And
Yeah.
I called in and I noticed the lady was going to struggle speaking to me in English. So I started speaking to her in Spanish, and at the end she's like, I say, what's the name? And I was like, Tom. She was all, Juan? And I was like, nah, Tomas. Tomas works.
Tomas.
That's funny.
I went here to I got here to Brownsville on Saturday, and everywhere you go here, man, like everywhere you go, even if I speak English, I'm like, good morning or whatever, they answer me in Spanish, and then I'll reply back in English and be like, whatever they're asking, reply in English, and they still respond in Spanish. And I'm like, dude, this is a trip after not being here for a while. When I was living here, it was like, whatever, it's
Second
normal.
nature.
Yeah, but coming back, it's like, wait, like nobody is talking to me in English at all. Everywhere, Walmart, HEB, everywhere.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, I was in line to go to the self checkout, and the lady from the HEB like yells at me, "El que sigue." Get out of here.
Sweet. Well, all right, boys. This is episode number 2 of the quarantine series. How have you guys been doing?
Man,
Been doing all right, man.
can't complain, man. Working
Pretty
back in the
good.
office a couple of days a week, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or
Me and
interesting, I
Marlon.
should say.
Me and Marlon starting next week, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Full time or
That's
like
crazy, man.
partial?
Cito
Yeah. Well, our boss kind of made it seem like if we had like any childcare sort of issues that we can kind of work from home still. So my wife's about to start work up again, so I'm probably going to have to work from home a few days a week. So Yeah. Other than that, man, I'm excited to get back in the office, but at the same time, I'm like, I've gotten used to working from home, and it's just, I have my routine down here. And so it's like,
Now you
I
have to
don't know.
adjust
I
to a
hated
new
it at
routine
first, and
again.
now it's not so bad. At first, I was not like very productive. There were so many distractions. And once I got those out of the way, like, I think I'm like more productive at home than I was before. So
Yeah, same. You don't realize how much time you like waste. Because I mean,
Like
when I
driving
was
and shit.
when I was driving to work, I was waking up like at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and literally waking up like at 8 and being online by 9. I'm like, all right, this is solid.
Yeah.
sweet.
For sure.
So everyone's doing good. That's great. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Mike, what do we got, bro?
So we're gonna talk. We're gonna get a little personal tonight.
Oh,
We want to
this was
share
my
some.
this,
This was Chris's
yeah,
idea.
it was my idea. I think I should introduce it. So I thought we should talk about, and I already cleared it with my significant other. I thought it would be funny if we talked about how we lost our virginities. And obviously, I didn't lose my virginity to my significant other, but I was like, hey, is it cool if I tell the story? It's like, I'm going to talk about having sex with somebody that's not you, and it's going to be on, like, recorded and on a podcast. Is that cool? And she was fine with it.
Hold on, I need to clear this with my wife. Hales, yeah. Can I talk about when I lost my virginity on here? She said, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we're good.
That's fine. She doesn't give a fuck. So, yeah, dude. No, but the thing is that, like, I don't know, like, I feel like the majority of people, like, don't have, like, an amazing experience when they lose their virginity, unless maybe you lose your virginity to somebody that's very experienced and it just goes well for you. I just think it's like, maybe. Right, if you're lucky. Yeah, but like, it's always like, I feel like an awkward, like, kind of a funny situation, or like, just like how you got there and what happened, like how you planned it out, like the situation, like, surrounding you losing your virginity, I think is hilarious. And I wanted us to talk about it and, like, share the story. So I'll go first. I don't care, since it was my idea.
You brought up a good point. Whenever we first talking about this, was like all of the, like, the weather has to be right? The situation has to be right. There has to be so many check boxes that are checked off in order for it to happen, right? Because, like, parents have to be gone and all the other stuff, right? So
yeah, so I'll start first, right? So luckily, the person that I was dating at the time, her parents got a divorce, so I just had to worry about one parent being home.
Luckily, they got a divorce.
Luckily, the stars aligned.
Luckily, their marriage fell apart, so
right.
She was scarred for life, but whatever.
Right. Yeah, she never recovered. And her mom worked, so, like, her house was always, like, empty, like, during the day, like, during normal hours, like, while we were at school. And the other lucky thing was that she lived, like, fucking, like, 5 minutes from the school that we were going to, the high school, right? But the problem was I didn't have a car, and I wasn't about to fucking walk and, like, cross this, like, busy intersection, like, just to go get laid. I was like, I don't know.
That's not really.
I know, but that's not really, like, I mean, you try to be, like, romantic, or I don't know. You just don't want it to be, like, a shitty situation,
Hey, not to interrupt, but what intersection was it?
It was Leopard, the street, Leopard on Good Corpus, where all the hobos and prostitutes line up. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, Leopard's rough.
Yeah, Leopard's rough. So anyway, we were like, look, okay, we had been dating for, like, almost a year or something, and it was like, all right, well, it's time, I guess. Or she was ready. So we were like, we went during lunch, right? And I remember this guy that I used to play soccer with. He let me borrow his car, dude. He let me borrow his car. He had, like, a purple 1996 Ford Mustang, dude. and
a fine vehicle.
A fine vehicle. And he was like, this dude hooked me up because he was like, oh, dude, you can take my car. Like, I'll leave you condoms in the glove compartment, because I didn't have a condom. Like, I wasn't going to go, like, I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, I was like 16, 17.
I was flying blind.
I wasn't going to go, like, buy a condom at a store or something. So this dude let me borrow his car. He fucking left, like, a condom in the glove compartment for me. It was ribbed for her pleasure. I still remember that. Because a wrapper, like, it was like a Trojan wrapper, and it was purple. I still remember that shit. Anyway, and it was like, okay, it's lunchtime. we're gonna have an hour.
Those
right?
are the ones
and
that numb your dick, by the way.
Yeah, no. It was. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it numbed my dick. I wish it did, because it was good for her pleasure. Yeah.
You don't believe me. You don't.
No. Well, here's the thing. I was like, it's lunch break, right? We're gonna have an hour for lunch, but in reality, I only needed like 30 seconds because it didn't last long. So I remember driving there and like fucking going into her house and like going to her room, and like I remember I was like obviously fucking nervous, and I remember trying to put the condom on, and I was like trying to pull it down, and it was like backwards. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a wrong way to put a condom on, so it was like it wasn't sliding down and shit.
My dick's too big. God damn it! I knew it was.
Yeah. I'm cursed. And so then
I knew it.
I fucking flipped it over, and like obviously it slid down like nothing. And then I fucking, dude, oh my God, I got on top of her, dude, and I swear to God, it took like 20 seconds, and I fucking finished. And it was just like the most disappointing and awkward situation that I've ever been in, probably. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so fucking terrible. Like we have like fucking 59 minutes left of lunch. Like we might as well go get something to eat. And there we go. And like this 1996 Ford Mustang that my buddy Jose let me borrow, and we just like went to Whataburger, got some food, and went back to fucking the school, And it was crazy because this guy Jose, like he was a really nice guy. He hooked it up with the car and the condom and everything. And I actually ended up introducing him to his wife, and they're happily married and shit now. They've been married for a while. So he helped me fucking lose my virginity, dude, by hooking me up with the car and the condom and all that. And he got a wife, dude. I hooked him up with a wife. So I think that was an even trade,
Even
Fair trade.
Yeah, I remember you're talking about not knowing how to put a condom on, dude. I remember my dad set me down when I was like 14 maybe. And he was like, hey man, getting girls pregnant is like an epidemic, dude. Once it happens at school, bro, everyone starts getting pregnant.
Hey, Eric missed that talk or what?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. And yeah. And then so like he like, he got a condom, and he like, he got it. He's like, this is how you get your own roll. And he's like, hey, dude, but when you come, it feels good, dude.
He went live.
Oh, man. It's iconic right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I knew like how to put one on when the time came. But my story is we had just gotten back from a field trip, and I think it was like second half of my sophomore year or like early junior year. I can't remember where we went, but I remember like, cause I was able to drive. And so I drove my girlfriend at the time back to her house, and nobody was home. And then we like ended up like making out, and one thing led to another. And it was just like, he started, and it's just like, got the tip in, and it's like, no condom, bro. But as soon as I put the tip in, it's like someone knocked at the door, and we're like, oh my God, thank God we didn't have a condom. Like nothing like really ever like happened, right? It was like just the tip, legit. Just the tip. And her aunt knocked on the door, and then like we're all freaked out and shit. And then like we were scared for like 2 weeks. Like, what if you're pregnant? Like, it's gonna change our lives. Like, just like, so I guess that's a quasi losing your virginity. I mean, I lost it probably like after that pregnancy scare, probably like 2 weeks later. But it was not memorable at all. It was just like in my room with the condom, which is also very weird. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, very awkward, man. When it happens, God. I think I probably lasted a minute 30. I don't know.
Yeah. You tripled me up, bro. That was funny.
Oh man, yeah. It's like it's not what you think it's going to be, right? Like you're expecting. I don't know what you're expecting, but it's not the way you envisioned it going, right? Yeah. It's like,
for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Glad I got that out of the way.
That's what it is. You're glad it's over, kind of. You're like, well, fuck. All right. Well, now I'm not a virgin anymore. Like, just live your life.
I remember talking to my girlfriend about it. Be like, I wonder how they just like go at it like in the movies, like fast and for long and everything like that. We were just like stunned. You were like, I don't know.
Yeah. So mine happened back when I was in high school. Like Friday nights were like football games, right? And then after the football games, like everybody would hang out at one or two places because these were the only places that were open late in my hometown, which was a Pizza Hut or Whataburger.
Nice.
So that was kind of like that's where everybody would hang out, right? So just I don't know. After one of the football games, I told my parents that I was going to hang out there, and then I ended up going to my girlfriend at the time. Went over to her place, and that's where it happened. It was uneventful.
It was uneventful, dude. Did you wear a condom or did you just raw dog her?
Yeah, I got a.
So yeah, I had a couple on. I had a few.
I got a condom from a friend of mine at the time.
That's crazy.
So I guess I'm the last one. So this might or might not.
I'm a virgin.
Right? I'm a virgin still, guys.
This morning
during the quarantine. No, so I mean, I mentioned it in the past that I grew up super religious and was like super firm believer and deathly afraid of.
He saved himself from marriage.
Yeah, well, that wasn't my approach really. It was, I mean, it was at first, and then it became like more like I was just afraid that because I knew it was a sin that God was going to punish me and like I was going to end up getting the girl pregnant or a disease or something, right? But anyway, so
Honoria.
I'm 20 years old in 2005. I move away from home to go to college. So I had already been in college, and it's not that I didn't have opportunities. I was just like no,
I'm gonna burn in hell.
Yeah. No, not burn in hell. Just the consequences of it. Like it was like a big deal. I was aching to get it done, and then at the same time, I was also like really hesitant or whatever. But anyway, so I move away to college, and I go to Pan Am, and they have this like freshman orientation day. I'm sure they had it at other places too. So I show up, and I don't know anybody there because none of my friends were going with me. It wasn't a freshman orientation; it was transfer student orientation. That's what it was. Because we weren't with the freshmen. It was just a bunch of people that were transferring. I was transferring from UTB at the time to Pan Am. It was I was going to start my third year. And so I was going to start my second year. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so I show up and don't know anybody, and I spot this girl, and I'm like, hey, do you know where we're supposed to go? So she's like, no, I've never even taken a tour of the campus or anything. So we end up like just kind of like talking. We were into the same stuff. We hit it off. Fast forward, and she ends up at my place that night, and it totally
that same night.
Yeah, that same night. And so totally her idea, I guess, to like take it there. But I was like, like I said, I was aching.
Totally her idea to take it.
Huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And then, so it was just like, I was super, super nervous. I didn't mention that it was like my first official time. Yeah. I mean, I'd done other stuff, but never, the full on,
the full Monty.
The full Monty. No, I'd never taken it to that point. But then one thing led to another. We ended up doing it, and I was just kind of like, afterwards, I didn't say it. I think the next day I was like, hey, because we talked on the phone or whatever to hang out the next day, and I was like, hey, last night was actually my first time.
Oh.
and she was like, no, she didn't believe me that I was like 20 years old and still hadn't had sex. And I was like, yeah.
So how long did y'all hang out for after that?
We actually started like a casual thing after that. And then we ended up dating, and then we broke up. Obviously.
Damn, dude. So you had sex on the first day you met her? That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I did.
College fuck fest, bro. dude. So 2 points, real quick. I just remembered. We actually went to visit Pan Am. I think the campus on that field trip. It was like to visit campuses, bro. So it comes full circle, man.
That's weird.
We got back from the valley.
What year was it?
And oh man, it was 2005, I think.
It was in the air, bro. It was in the air.
It had to have been 2005, dude, because that's when I was a junior.
Yeah, bro.
Or no, 06. It might have been 06 because that was the second half of my junior year.
Bro, you should have kept it at 05. It would have been an awesome story.
It might have been because you're looking at you guys are going to campuses like junior and senior year. It might have been. I can't. I just remember like then I dropped her off, but nobody was home, and then like that's when it all started. Then her aunt got there. Whatever. Second point goes back to the condoms, bro. I remember we had gone to Super Walmart. I went with my parents. We went to Super Walmart, and that night that my dad gave me that fucking lesson on how to put a condom on. Whenever he bought the condoms, we were fucking exiting Walmart and the fucking alarms went off like we were stealing something. But the sensor in the condom box didn't like whatever, it didn't register or whatever.
Oh
so it's like, this is the reason they got stopped at the entrance.
Because you were horny.
Oh my God. Dude, real quick before we change subjects, have you ever gotten caught having sex or like or like almost caught having sex? Like anybody?
Almost got caught going down
first time.
Oh
wow.
Not like caught, but I was told afterwards that people could hear us.
Oh shit. But dude, this one time this girl's dad started like knocking on the door, it wasn't even his house. They were divorced. Remember? I told you in the beginning. He just showed up one day to the house just to say hi or something and fucking knocked on the door. And dude, it was like the whole hiding in the closet thing. And I was naked hiding in the closet with a condom on my dick, dude. It's like, oh my God, please. Oh my God, I don't want to get caught doing it. Like, dude, if he catches me, can you imagine, dude? I'm naked in the closet.
Bro, I remember having like a protocol, dude, because I have fucking 2 brothers and a sister, man, and people were always just running around, and we didn't have any locks on our doors. And so I remember we had a protocol, bro, and like the protocol was like one of us goes to the bathroom because I had my own bathroom since I was the first child, and then one of us run to the closet. Nice. And that was like the drill, bro, if it were to ever happen. But one time my dad just came in, bro, and I was like going down on her, and I was all, we're just watching TV, man.
He didn't even ask you. You just said,
bro, dude, I remember.
Blank it over, I come up.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
Blank it over, I come up. I'll muscle row and just watch the movie, Dad.
Dude, come give me a kiss.
I'm not dude, it's funny you say protocol. You're talking about having a protocol after that incident where the dad was knocking on the door and like she let him into the room or whatever. I remember because when you're gonna have sex or whatever, you're so excited you just start ripping your fucking clothes off, right? You just like start, you take your t-shirt off and you fucking throw it and your underwear and your socks. I remember trying to gather all of my clothes. That was one of the things. I was like getting all my clothes to run into the closet and my socks. And I was like, oh fuck, like where are my socks? And then it took me forever. It felt like forever. It was probably just a few seconds to find my fucking socks. And like, I was like, God damn it. And I found them and I went into the closet and I didn't get caught or whatever. And he never knew that was going on.
He didn't know you were there?
No, didn't know I was there or nothing. We got away with it. But I remember every time after that, I would have sex with my socks on because I was like, I'm not gonna fucking my fucking because if I drop a sock or something like on the way to the closet or on the way out the window or something, like I'm fucking done, dude. Like that's the fucking I'm caught red-handed.
You're gonna CSI.
So he wasn't like so whose is that purple Mustang outside?
No. We parked it like car and shit.
You should have just like come out and been like, dude, what are you doing here?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Whoa. Hey Tom, so you said that Walmart story, like walking out of Walmart and the sensor's gone off, and that reminded me of the guy that I borrowed or got the condoms from. He was like a compulsive shoplifter, dude. He would steal like shit, like just to steal shit. I remember one time we were like in a parking lot and he like he would like grab car handles just to see if they were open. And one door happened to be open.
Damn,
he
dude.
stole like a bunch of change and like a pair of sunglasses from that
What
car.
kind of circles did you roll in high school, dude? Goddamn.
Shit, man.
But anyway, I remember like not knowing at the time, but finding out later that the condoms, he shoplifted these condoms from Walmart.
Jesus Christ. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
man.
so yeah, that's what my dad said. He was like, the lady said it happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah, at least these kids are being safe, man. I mean,
Hey, man.
dude, I remember one of my friends from high school. Her mom. She's actually the friend that I introduced to my buddy Jose, that's married to Jose now. Her mom used to work at Planned Parenthood, dude. So anytime anybody hung out with like her daughter, like if there was like a new person that was brought into the group, she would sit them down and like show them a slideshow of like, this is gonorrhea, this is chlamydia. This is fucking. I remember seeing a dick that looked like a fucking nutty bar, like
mushroom.
Dude, it was crazy. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, dude, it was insane, dude. So she would show us all these STDs to fucking scare us to like not have sex and shit.
With us, it was different. It was a slideshow of Jesus crying. This is Jesus crying.
Yeah, it was kind of the opposite because I remember one like spring break, this girl, her name was Luce. It was so funny that was her name, like Luz, Luce. But we would go over to Luce's house and like put together like Ziploc bags with like fucking like condoms and like dental dam and shit, like, you know, like the shit that you use on girls when you want to eat them out, but you don't want to catch a disease. But it's like it's crazy. Like, it's just a sheet of paper. I remember we opened one up and we're like, put it on our hands and we're like, we can't feel shit. Like, what the fuck is this? What is this bullshit? But we used to put these like, I guess care packages together, and like her mom used to go out on the beach and hand them out to all the spring breakers.
It's crazy, dude. Man, I remember. So you brought up the point. Like, I told the story about my dad telling me how to put a condom on, and you were like, so I guess Eric missed that conversation. Eric's my brother, and he got his girlfriend pregnant right out of high school. Like, it was his first semester in college. He was 18 years old, and I remember like my dad sat me down and told me, he got pregnant. My uncle like was there. And my brother was there. He's like, "Hey, I heard you got your girlfriend pregnant." And Eric was like, "Yeah." He's all, "Should have wrapped up."
That's it, man. That's it. It's the truth. Goddamn. Well, that was a lively conversation.
That's a good one. What do we got? Next, man?
Man, sneakers with suits. What do you guys think?
Oh, changing it up a little bit, man.
God, it's gonna get even more heated. Jesus
I think
Christ.
we're probably all on the same page with this one.
Well, yeah, I think so. But this is the reason why I thought about talking about this is because anytime I watch ESPN, I feel like there's always somebody, and it's usually all of them, wearing fucking like Jordans with like a nice suit. And it's just like, it looks so out of place. Like, it doesn't matter how nice your suit looks. If you're wearing like sneakers, you just look like you're just downgraded, like instantly downgraded.
Yeah, dude, it's always bothered me. I feel like you should dress according to the situation, right? Like, whatever you're getting into, the scenario, like, you should dress properly for that, right? Yeah. And so I've always hated the sneakers and suits. I think we talked about like blazers, sometimes like blazers and jeans. I think sometimes it depends on your shoes and like how nice your pants are. Maybe you can pull it off. But I feel like you should, if you're going to dress casually, dress casually. If you're going to dress, a little bit up, dress up. But don't blend those two, man. It's not meant to be blended. You know what I mean? And it's like, we talked about it, and it's just like you're watching a fucking horror film. It's a horror film, right? The dude just fucking farts. Yeah. I mean, it's not supposed to happen, bro. Like, that doesn't happen in a horror film. Like, you don't mix two genres, man.
If you're that scared, maybe. I don't know. I think
dude. If Mike Myers is standing over, if Mike Myers is standing over Jamie Lee Curtis with a fucking kitchen knife and he rips ass, dude, come on, you can't.
The illusion is over. This guy's a human after all.
Bro, no, dude, it's like the climax of the film. Back to our, he's about to kill the main character, and this motherfucker just farts. Like, nah, man, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're right, dude. It's like it's called like, I think it's called like a genre trope. Like there are certain things that are common, like in a type of movie or in a type of like story or whatever. And it's like comedic relief isn't really like that big of a thing in horror films or in like super serious films. Like nobody's gonna like you're saying, nobody's gonna sit on a fucking whoopee cushion or something like during like the Passion of the Christ.
Yeah,
you know
dude.
what I mean? Like,
imagine
like you're at a place.
Like imagine like that one scene, that one scene in The Notebook where they're in the rain. Everyone knows that fucking scene, and then fucking imagine Ryan Gosling just busting ass there. Like the movie doesn't have that same sort of appeal to people at that point. Like
right, dude. And that's what happens, dude. That's what happens when you're wearing fucking sneakers with a suit. It's just like you're ripping ass during a horror movie or like during a love scene or like it's just like it's so fucking out of place. It's ridiculous, man.
I mean, why do you think that started though? Like that trend? Like, how do you think that was acceptable? I feel like it's okay. Like if you're dressed suit, like there's like really nice casual, like it kind of, there's like steps, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe like there's a point where it's like there's the crossroads, right, between casual and formal, or not necessarily formal, but nicer. And so maybe at that point it's acceptable, but wearing a suit is up here and then wearing sneakers is down here. So there's no way those two would intersect. You know what I mean? If you're looking at a fucking grid.
I think it was probably just something that athletes started doing, and once one did, it caught on.
It became a thing.
A lot of people,
became a trend. Like
a lot of people do it, and it's not like. I mean, it's more like a thing to try and make dressing up look cool.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
Slightly irreverent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you. I mean, I get it. If you're going, are they going for comfort? I don't think they're even going for comfort. Like you said, like it's.
I don't think it's functional. I think it's just.
Yeah,
I think it's just a
nice
style.
shoes, and they want to show off that they have like their nice shoes, because there are people that are really passionate about shoes, and I get it. Like, hey, if that's your thing, you love shoes. I can appreciate the fact that you really love shoes, but like you don't always have to wear your shoes and like. If you're dressing up for a certain occasion, you know what I mean? Well, because if tennis shoes, if you're like sneakers are appropriate for the function that you're going to, then the suit is way overdressed. You're way overdoing it, bro.
You know dude. I mean? If you guys have a potluck, don't bring PB&J sandwiches, man. You know what I mean?
What if
right.
it's okay,
not that hard, bro?
What if is the suit like a super elegant looking suit, or is it a suit that's more dressed down to kind of meet the tennis shoes halfway?
No, dude, I've seen dudes like with full on suits, like 3-piece suits,
tailored,
man,
like expensive, like super tailored, really expensive, multi-$1,000 suits, man.
And that's what's the worst, because it's like, dude, you look so fucking nice, man. Like it fits right. Your tie's great. You're dressed amazing, and then your fucking feet come into the frame, and it's just like these bulky ass white, shoes. And I'm like, you just look silly, man. You look like a little kid. Like I remember, I think I have a picture of me in like this suit when I was like 6 or something, and I'm wearing like soccer cleats. And like, I feel like I didn't know any better. You know what I mean? I was just fucking putting on shoes and dressing up. Like, I feel like they look like children. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just look goofy.
Yeah, man. And there's like the reverse of that too. There's people who wear like super dressy shoes with jeans. And anyone who knows me knows I fucking hate that, bro. Yeah. Like I hate people wearing jeans and then they're wearing like a nice pair of shoes, like dress shoes. I'm like, what are you doing, man? It just looks wrong, man. That's like putting, I don't know, bro. That's like putting caviar on apple pie. I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, like it's
your analogies here are on point, bro.
They're on point. Like if you're gonna break from the norm, you really, yeah. farting in the norm.
Farting in the analogies tonight.
Yeah. If you're gonna break from the norm, like that hard, like you can break from the norm with certain things, like subtly, and that's fine. Like that's unique, that's style, right? But if you're gonna go that far against like the norm, like you really you gotta have like a really unique style, and you really gotta fucking nail it, because like you're leaving so much room for error. Like you gotta be like, I don't know, man. Like you gotta be like David Beckham level fucking style to pull something like that off, man. I feel like, and the only person that I would give a pass.
David Beckham would dress that like that either.
No, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying like David Beckham never would.
Yeah, but if he did, I mean, who am I to question him? Right?
You leave David Beckham out of this.
If David Beckham were to do it, I would do it.
Yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. You got to be on like another level, man. And then unless you're fucking David Beckham, I wouldn't try it. But like the only other person I would give,
you got to be culture defining, man. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
Yeah.
You can't just
be the
dude.
college. You can't be the fucking college football analyst on ESPN during coronavirus when there's no fucking sports going on. All right, dude. You can't be that guy on TV. All right.
Yeah,
and
man.
like
you can't.
The only other person I give a pass is fucking Jordan. Because Jordan only wears his shoes, I feel like, because he's such a competitive motherfucker, right? Like he'll wear Jordans to whatever, like you know what I mean. So unless you're Michael Jordan and you own your own shoe company, don't wear fucking sneakers with a suit. You know, like it's just.
So okay, so scenario here: would you rather wear sneakers with a suit, or would you rather wear dress shoes with the fucking t-shirt and jeans?
Oh, why'd you have to say t-shirt? Because see, if you're wearing.
I've seen it though. You guys have seen it. You guys seen wearing guys wearing really nice shoes with t-shirt and jeans.
Okay, but what if you're wearing like a dress shirt, you know, with jeans and like some dress and dress shoes, right?
Tucked or untucked? Tucked.
Oh, you gotta tuck it. You gotta tuck it. You gotta tuck it, bro.
Nah, dude, because I feel like most dudes who wear really nice shoes with jeans are wearing a dress shirt and it's untucked almost all the time.
Right. You got to tuck it. I mean, you got to be like formalish, or like if you're wearing a vest, you know, like you're wearing a vest and a dress shirt, but like some nice jeans and some dress shoes. I would rather do that than wear a fucking full 3-piece suit and some sneakers, or you know what I mean? Like I can't get over how terrible it looks to wear nice like dress pants, like sitting on some sneakers. Like it just doesn't make sense.
What if you're interviewing a dude who's wearing
really
sneakers
expensive?
Oh my god, you would be fucking. Oh, I would laugh in his face probably. I don't know, dude. I'd be like, "Are you fucking serious, man? You're not taking this shit seriously."
This is a joke to you.
But then the next dude he walks in with fucking jeans and nice shoes. Yeah,
I mean, I'll judge him, but I wouldn't mention anything of it. I wouldn't mention it, but I would fucking seriously question his judgment.
I don't know. I think there's different levels and there's obviously lanes when it comes to style and fashion. I feel like there are rules that you have to follow. I know back in the day, you know, there were rules for like dinner attire and formal attire, white tie, you know, stuff like that. Obviously, we don't have that in place. There's not that much structure anymore. But I still feel like there are rules that you have to follow according to the situation and what you're getting into. Yeah, I just don't feel like sneakers and suits are acceptable together, bro. It's not.
Don't do it, boys.
We're all in agreement here.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, so
if
you wear suits and sneakers,
it doesn't affect me at all.
Marlon's like, that's what I'm going to wear to work next week.
Right.
Goddamn it!
Suit, a tuxedo, and chanclas.
Hold on, Marlon. Let me see your shoes right now, dude.
My shoes? I'm wearing.
Let me. I'm just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Those are appropriate.
Those are fine.
I'm wearing some Vans. And a 3-piece suit.
And a 3-piece suit. There you go. Oh, yeah, you can't do that. Oh my God, I saw there was this. That reminds me. Man, I know somebody that like for their wedding, like they were wearing like Vans, like you know what I mean, like they were like a suit and like Vans, and it's like it's
terrible.
It's not as bad, but like just barely not as bad. It's just like barely not as bad. It's like it's still very fucking terrible taste to be wearing like him and all his groomsmen were wearing Vans and like a suit, and that's like, oh, dude. Like at least it's not a sneaker because it's not as bulky. Like Vans are a little like more like lower profile, but still, man, it's just not a good look, dude.
I think like for me, man, I was talking about those levels and those lanes you have to stay in, right? And like for me, man, like it was very like when I got married, I wanted to make sure that I was dressed appropriately, man. Like I wore black socks with slippers. If you're gonna wear slippers, you have to wear the black socks in like formal attire, dude. And like I had like these handmade slippers from England. They were bougie as fuck. And I had the black socks on. I love watches. I didn't wear my watch because that wasn't supposed to be like tux attire and stuff like that, dude. Like I was very like I have to be appropriate, dude. And I guess maybe that's just some people don't give a fuck, but I kind of care about those things, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm gonna wear a watch on my wedding day, but that's because I mean, you know, James Bond wore one with a tux, and I'm gonna try to be James Bond on my wedding day. So, you know,
if we had everybody following the rules, we never have some of the best trends that we have. Who can forget the tube sock on the hand?
The Avril? Avril Lavigne?
Remember that? Britney Spears had one too.
Pinches pendejas, right?
The tie as a belt. Who can forget the tie as a belt? Remember that?
Oh my god.
Who can forget the tie with like a fucking wife beater, dude? Or like a tie with a t-shirt. It's like,
oh no.
What are you tying, man? Ain't tying anything. Yeah, but no, Chris, wear a watch, bro. Like, I don't feel like watches are as bad. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking watch, man. Especially if it's you know, it's different than everything else we were talking about.
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm like that. Like, I agree with you. Where like they're like you're supposed to wear or like a super dressy watch when you're wearing like a tux, and I don't really like super dressy watches like that, like a Cartier tank or something. Like, I don't really fuck with watches like that. So I'm gonna wear. It's gonna be like a diver watch, and that's like a no-no. You're not supposed to really wear like divers, but it's gonna be like a slim diver watch that'll look decent with a tux. But like, see, I'm willing to bend a little when it comes to like Marlon said, like the fashion rules, like a little bit. But dude, when you're going that far off with the sneakers, like that's crazy land, dude. I can't see myself ever doing something that out there when it comes to like dressing.
I think that's something that I do that kind of like blends. I don't even know if it blends because there's like casual wear is like right in the middle, and there's like a sliver with like super casual and a sliver of like formal, and then everything else is just kind of in the middle, right? Yeah. And I guess one thing I do is just like I wear a dress shirt with like a button-up shirt with jeans and sneakers, but that's like, you know, a little bit different, and that's mixing casual with a little bit more business casual, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like smart casual. I think that's what that's called. But
yeah, anyway,
neither here nor there. Cool. I think like Mike said 5 minutes ago, we all agree.
Fuck sneakers and suits and tube socks, bro.
Yeah. Hey, so we wanted to do a little bit of a new segment on here tonight. We're calling it Hit or Shit.
Hit or shit.
Hit or shit. We're gonna apply this to sitcoms this time around. So I think we came up with a few different sitcoms that we wanted to talk about.
And I think it's just like because we all of us are pretty different in our interests and what we like and shit. And I feel like sitcoms is definitely one of those points. I think we might agree on a few of these, and there's some that we just might not agree on. And I feel like that this is going to be a cool segment moving forward because there's so much shit that we could talk about where we just have differing opinions. So it's kind of like not a debate platform, but we can kind of, you know, butt heads a little bit when it comes to this.
Yeah, this is where we give our hot takes. Our hot takes are coming out here.
Hot takes.
Yeah, so the first, and I guess we'll start with Chris, you started the virginity thing. You can answer. We're going first with Friends, so you can go hit or shit with Friends.
Okay, so I used to think it was shit, dude. I was like, Friends is shit. It's not funny. It's fucking stupid. It doesn't hold up. It's like, I can't relate. Like, I just thought it was fucking garbage, right? But Sarah, my significant other, would just watch it all the time. Like, she just grew up on watching Friends, and she was like, she loved it, right? And her sister always had these like inside jokes that were like Friends references. And so we all lived together, right? Me, Sarah, and her sister, and like late at night, Friends is always on, dude. Fucking turn the TV on. Friends is on right now. All right, it doesn't matter what time you're listening to this shit. Yeah. So then I started watching it like a little more, and like they would laugh. Like they would crack up about something, and then like I guess seeing them laugh or like hearing them laugh kind of like would make me laugh, or like maybe
you're like at first I was like not really laughing, but I was laughing to fit in, and then I was actually laughing.
Oh, dude, that's kind of the thing. I was like, I want to laugh. Like, you know, you see people having fun and laughing and shit, and you're not laughing. Yeah. I was like, I fucking want to be happy too. Fuck. And so like I started laughing and like listening and shit, and then like during like regular life, I would start quoting or like saying something or like, oh, like that's like from this episode of Friends. And like they would start cracking up. Like they would crack up whenever I would make a Friends reference. And I love making people laugh. So then like I would just like start like I'm like, oh man, like I gotta keep referencing Friends when I'm around them because they're just gonna love this shit. And dude, so then like I started actually liking it, like because I gave it a fair shake, and I would it was always on, and we used to watch it to go to sleep. And dude, now I think it's a fucking hit, bro. Friends is a fucking hit. Plus, I love Jennifer Aniston, and she never wore a bra. She never wore a bra in that fucking show. Her nips were always hard. So I was like,
yeah. I discovered that at 13 years old for sure, dude.
And then your dad had that talk with you.
And then shortly thereafter. So for me, dude, Friends is a hit. It's a hit right now, and it holds up. So.
Yeah, for me, Friends is a hit. I mean, it's always been a hit. I used to watch it when it used to air. I'm that old, and it was good. And my aunt loved it. Whenever we'd go spend the night at my aunt's house, my dad's youngest sister, she had like the box set. So we'd be like, yeah, can we watch Friends? And we'd just like binge watch. This is before Netflix was a thing. So you had to have the DVDs to binge watch stuff.
Yeah.
We would binge watch the entire seasons. And yeah, like about once a year, my wife and I, we sit down and we watch all of Friends start to finish. Actually, we're due for
We're due.
for the next viewing.
Yeah.
It's just so funny, man. And yes, it's dumb. You have characters that are stupid. Like Joey's the dumb one, and he says stupid stuff. And there's some people that just don't get that humor. But to me, that's hilarious. Like,
yeah,
like it's really funny. Like he's really funny. Chandler's super funny. All the characters have their own personality and their own like, I guess, their different style of humor that they inject into the group. And I think that it makes it all work. So
yeah,
I like it.
Okay, you can go, Mike.
Okay, I'm gonna go with hit. But you know what? I didn't actually get into Friends until like after college. I think I had never seen it before, but like Chris said, it was always on TV, and I think I started watching it on TBS or something like that, and I just like instantly liked the show. So I'm gonna go with hit.
Here we go.
I'm gonna say it's not shit for me, but it's not hit either. I've seen it before and it's been okay. It's not like some of the others that are on here, or one of the others that's on here. But I can never really truly like get into it. I think my wife likes it. And I mean, it was on whenever I was a kid growing up, and I would watch it sometimes. I've never like watched it periodically. You know, I've never like gone through like the beginning and to the end. Like I don't know the sequence of anything. So it's not hit or miss for me. Miss for me. It's just like, or hit or shit for me. It's just like right in the middle. It's an it. It's an it.
Yeah, it's just it. It is. Yeah,
it's just it.
That's a good way to put it.
All right.
The next one we have is The Office.
Okay.
Oh, come on. I mean, it's a hit all the way through. I mean, the fact that this is one of the common themes that we have with the shows, the whole laugh reel, you know, or the laugh track. The fact that there is no laugh track on the show, and that like it's just funny on its own and clever and just fucking like, dude, like it's made me cry laughing. Like that's how hard I've laughed at watching this show, and so many like inside jokes and stuff. And like it's a hit all the way through, man. It's like even from the beginning, like the very first fucking episode, it wasn't like it was shitty. Like it never even got shitty. Like it was arguably towards the end. Yeah. Well, but I'm not there yet because I'm still watching it. So,
bro, come on! It's been like a decade.
I need to finish watching it. I need to finish watching it. But I mean, I can, the first 6 seasons, fucking 5 stars, bro. 5 stars. It's a great show.
Yeah, I'm gonna say mega hit for me. It's probably my favorite comedy show. I can't think of another one that I've watched so intensely and followed. And it wasn't even on my radar when I first watched it. It was my cousin. I was visiting my cousin in Kingsville, and he was at school doing some stuff when I got to his place. So one of his roommates let me in, and I went and I hung out in his room, and he had the Office DVD sets of the 2nd season, and the 3rd season. And I popped in the first DVD, and by the time he got home, dude, like I was already like midway through the season. I was just, because the episodes were real short. So I was watching them all. It was, and that sparked my interest. And ever since then, I came back home, and I went out and I rented the DVDs, showed them to my sister, and we would just like laugh hysterically at all of them. And then we eventually caught up to where the series was airing. And then the last few seasons were kind of like, okay. But yeah, the first four for sure were great.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Hit. Also, it's like definitely my favorite comedy. Like Marlon said, I actually got into that like my freshman year in college. I don't remember what season it was at the time that was airing, but it used to be like syndicated on TBS also. And my freshman year of college, I went to A&M College Station, and I remember like I would have a class, and then I would go to this place right by my dorm that had we would always get like pizza rolls or like ice cream or whatever, and just hang out there. And they always had a TV on, and it was always playing like TBS, and Friends would be on, and like that was just one of those shows that I instantly like got into. And of course, I rewatch it like on occasion, and I usually will skip like season 7. Like I just skip it.
Yeah,
it's just not good. But or not season. Is it 7 or 8? I don't remember. What's the second to the last season? That's the one that I skipped. But I think it got back on track the final season. I enjoyed it the final season.
The last episode was just great. The final.
Yeah, the
series finale was great.
Yeah, the series finale is really great.
Michael, you came
first time.
I did not cry.
I choked up a couple times.
Me, it was shit for me for a really long time, and I think it's because my roommate in college, my freshman year, loved it, and we fucking hated that guy. Like,
I hate everything you like. Y'all know, you're like, fuck that.
Me and JJ, y'all know JJ, a good friend of mine. I lived with him, and it was 4 of us, and it was like one of those student living Islander Village thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of those guys, his name was Chris. Fuck that guy, bro. And so he loved The Office. Oh, do you guys love The Office? Is great. You should watch it. Fuck you, bro.
Uh-oh.
And then last year, 2 years ago, a couple of years ago, man, I was sick. I was stayed home from work, and I was just really, really sick, and it was on Netflix, and I put the episode 1 on, and I was like, this is actually really funny. And yeah, man, it's definitely a hit for me. Really, really funny. I mean, yeah, later seasons aren't as great once Michael Scott left, for sure. There's definitely a decline there, but overall, man, I think it's definitely a hit.
Dude, I could watch the dinner party episode over and over and over again. I think I watched it like 2 times in a row one time.
Bro, the fire drill episode.
Fire drill, dude, that cold open is hilarious. When the fucking cat comes back down, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh my God.
I lost my shit with the cat. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man. Great show.
Next one.
Okay. The next one, Big Bang Theory. Chris, go.
Shit. It's straight fucking dookie, man. Like I think I sent this to Mike and Tom. They in YouTube they took there's a couple of like videos where they take the laugh track out, and it's just so stupid and dry, like humor that is just, it's just not like, they try to be like it's almost like they try too hard to be like do like smart comedy, and it's just like it's flat. And like if that laugh track, I feel like if that laugh track isn't there, a lot of people wouldn't laugh. Like they just laugh along, like because like I said with Friends, like I would laugh along because like I heard my friends laughing, or my girlfriend and her sister laughing, and like it makes me want to laugh. And I feel like that's like that show, the laugh track makes that show, because if it's just like the delivery is so dull, I feel like, and like those characters are just, especially the main character, what's his name, Sheldon, like, oh, he's so annoying, you know what I mean? Like he's so annoying, and like I can't even like sit through an episode, man. Like it's just shit for me.
I started off a similar situation. I came home for the holidays. It was probably, I want to say like maybe 5 years ago. And I was actually staying here in Brownsville with my now suegros, my in-laws. And my sister-in-law had the first like 3 seasons or something. And so I was always curious about it, because I heard it was like, I mean, I wasn't like super like into what's quote unquote nerdy stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, but I did collect comic books. I was super into like computer games, and not just that, but like building computers and stuff like that. So the culture I was familiar with, and I had heard that it's a comedy about that, and so I popped in the first DVD, and I was watching it, and it was the first few episodes were kind of funny, the situations that everybody was in, but I liked it a lot. But then it got to a point where it seemed like it was trying really really hard to like exploit that in a way, like the jokes got to a point where it wasn't even funny. Like the situations weren't like that funny anymore. So I just lost interest, and it went from being a decent hit for me, to being like just shit. And I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I even tried picking back up and watching an episode when I went to Thailand. It was a super long flight, and they had a few episodes there, and I tried to just watch one of the ones that I hadn't seen, and it was just like, oh man, I was like, when's this gonna be over?
Dude,
it was
yeah, it's like they're making like nerdy references just for the sake of making the references.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like just to like check
yeah.
a box. Like, yeah.
I don't even have much to say about it, man. I think it's shit.
The first few episodes
Yeah,
were funny,
dude.
for me. I mean, it was good.
It's not funny.
It's always on. It's one of those shows you turn on the TV, it's going to be on, right? And I've never thought it was funny. Marlon, I think one time you were like, man, you told me you liked it, and you're like, some people just like hate on it for no reason. And I
had seen those first.
So that might have been whenever you first started watching it. I'm not sure.
I started watching those first episodes, and the situations are funny. It's a similar. I mean, this is really smart people that are really socially dumb. Like how can, and it explores that funny aspect of like, how can somebody be so smart and so like intellectual,
socially awkward,
but also be very
Yeah.
socially awkward, and be so ill-equipped to talking to people, or to and those situations is what made it funny, because they would stick the characters into those situations where they were not smart guys, they were just like dumb, and it was fun to see them squirm, and that was the funny part. And and then after it, you can only drag that out so far, to where it's just the same kind of joke over and over and over again, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I think it goes back to Chris and like the laugh track. That's like a show where I was watching it, and then the laugh track would play, be like, oh, I'm supposed to be laughing here. Like I just would not get the humor at all. You know what I mean? And definitely shit for me.
Shit.
The next one is classic Seinfeld.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna say, you're not gonna like this, but I'm gonna say the show is shit. Okay. The show is shit, but I appreciate like Seinfeld, like his it's almost like he created his own kind of comedy where it's like really like silly, observational. You know what I mean? And some of that came through in the show. Like I know, like in the show, he would do like stand-up sets and shit. And maybe because it was like, I mean, the show was on forever, right? And some of the stuff just doesn't hold up, right? Because of the time. Yeah, like because of the times. Like I remember I was watching an episode, and he was talking about like how women love writing checks and like how men don't, and it's just because it was the time when it was like when it came out, when it aired. So it doesn't really
didn't age well.
Yeah, and so like I guess it wasn't something that I needed to watch and that like I wanted to watch. And I hate saying that it's shit because I feel like I don't have that. Like I haven't seen enough to really call it shit. But anytime I've seen it, I've just never been enthralled by it, or it never made me want to watch more of it. So by default, I'm just gonna have to fucking call it shit. But I hate doing that because I actually like Seinfeld, like the Jerry Seinfeld. But I just like, I don't know, man. His show just didn't do it for me.
Marlito.
I thought it was hilarious when I watched it for the first time recently, like within the past year. My wife and I watched the entire episodes, and we I had heard so much about it and how great it was. And I'm not saying that it wasn't funny and that I didn't enjoy it. I would definitely watch it again. It was funny. I enjoyed it. But a lot of people were like, "Oh man, it's so hilarious, so hilarious." And yeah, I was laughing a lot, but I didn't think it was like the way I laughed with like The Office or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay,
But
but
was,
if you
but it
have
was
to
funny.
call it a hit or a shit, if you have to call it hit or shit,
I would call it a hit because obviously there's so much culturally. It's such a big impact on the culture. There's a ton of like references. Now that I've seen it, I'm like, oh, this is a Seinfeld reference, or some phrase that I've heard, or something, And I had no idea, and it just the impact that it had on the culture.
Yo, the only part of Seinfeld that I really laughed at though was that lady dancing. What was her name? The fucking what's her name, dude? Lorraine, or what the fuck's her name?
Yeah, Lorraine. But what's her?
Yeah, dude.
The actress's name? Something Dreyfus.
I used to work at this credit union in Corpus, and the IT guy and myself, we were pretty close. We're buddies, and he was like, "Hey, dude, fucking Barb." We had this loan officer. Her name was Barbara. It's like, dude, Barb dances just like Lorraine, dude. She dances like, watch at the fucking Christmas party, dude. She dances just like Lorraine. I was like, who the fuck's Lorraine? He's like, Google it, dude. Google it. And like, I Googled it and I was cracking up like at my desk, like watching like that scene from Seinfeld. And then sure enough, dude, when the Christmas party came around, the fucking lady danced just like her, dude. She fucking was like all twitchy and shit. I was fucking dying. I was dying. But yeah, I appreciate Lorraine dancing from Seinfeld.
I'm gonna go with hit, but I kind of agree with like Marlon and a little Chris also. Like, I appreciate it for what it was like at its time, but I don't know, like it doesn't make me laugh enough to where like I want to watch it over and over again.
I think it's a hit for me. I probably like it more than all of you guys. Maybe it sounds like. But I think maybe it is nostalgic, man. I mean, that shit was going on when we were kids, man, and my parents would always watch that shit, and I think it's funny. I know you referenced like the checks thing, but I can still remember that time frame. You know what I mean? So I can kind of still understand it. And so for me, and there's like a lot of general observational comedy that just pertains to life in general. So I find that pretty hilarious. And yeah, what you guys pretty much said it all, man. I mean, Larry David also is a fucking genius, a great writer, created Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld's stand-up's not my favorite at all, though.
Yeah,
love his show, but his stand-up is subpar in my mind. But back to Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, I haven't seen. I need to get HBO. Fuck, because I mean you can't get it anywhere other than HBO. So I need to get on it. But I've seen. I've never seen a whole episode of it, but I've seen like clips online of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it's fucking hilarious. Like there's this one clip that I watched where like Larry doesn't want to he doesn't want to have this meeting with this person, right? And he decides to put on a MAGA hat like for the meeting with this guy not because like he's Republican or Democrat or anything like that. He just knows that it's kind of like off-putting for certain people.
It's repulsive.
It's right. And so because I mean, if you could be Republican, like, there's a difference between being like a person that's like left or on the right, but there's a special kind of person that wears a MAGA hat like out in public, like at a restaurant. You know what I mean? That's a different thing. That's like a different thing. You know?
That's what I meant by repulsive. I didn't mean Republicans are any.
No.
Yeah.
But like
it's
so like
off-putting.
because he knows that it's off-putting. It makes certain people uncomfortable, like regardless of if you're left or right. But anyway, so then he notices that like he gets this idea. He's like, dude, I'm gonna wear this hat and I'm gonna be able to get out of this meeting. And so like he's sitting at the fucking table and this guy comes in who's eager to have this meeting with him, and like he's like, oh yeah, sit down. And as soon as he sits down, he puts the MAGA hat on, and they're in public, like in this busy restaurant. And the guy's like, you know what, man? Actually, I have this other thing I gotta do. I gotta get out of here, man. I'm sorry, I gotta go. And so then like once he realizes that like it worked, he started using it over and over again. Like he's sitting at a sushi bar. There's these two seats next to him. This couple comes up and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll sit at the bar." And he just fucking throws the MAGA hat on, and like they're like, never mind. We'll go get a table. We'll wait for a table. Like just kept using it over and over and over again. And it was so fucking funny. And like that's just one little bit. And like I feel like that show's full of those bits, dude.
You know what's great about that show is like most of it's improv, dude. Like a lot of it, they just have kind of like guidelines, and then it's just all improv. So that's fucking amazing.
I saw an interview with him on Rich Eisen, I think it was like a sports show of all shows. And Rich Eisen's like this huge Larry David fan. And he was asking him about Curb. And he was like, how much of it, he asked for the ratio. He's like, how much of it is improv and how much of it is scripted? He's like, oh, it's like 90-10. Like 90% of it is improv. Like we have like this general outline of how the conversation's kind of going to go, but we just fucking turn the camera on and just start fucking improvising. And you can tell like it's fucking gold, dude. It's gold. So I need to sit down and watch. I need to watch it all. But
I think
let me borrow that HBO password, bro. Hey, let me borrow that HBO password, Tom. Damn, bro.
All right.
We're bros.
I'll pass it your way, bro. After the episode. Marlon, have you watched Curb?
I haven't watched a single episode. I haven't even seen bits of it. I think I've only heard you guys talk about it, but it sounds hilarious. It just hasn't. I'm caught up.
Have you?
No,
watching other
I've
stuff.
never seen the
Okay,
series.
so I'll be sending out my HBO password.
I have HBO. I just haven't.
I'll tell you guys another joke. I mean, another scene, another episode. Right? There's this guy, and he goes, and it's a nurse, and his nurse is he dated one of Larry's friends from the past, right? And they're like, Larry's like, so why didn't it work out with you and this other guy? And she's like, well, to be honest, he had a really small penis. And then Larry goes over to his other friend and he's like, hey man, it's one of his best friends. Like, she said it didn't work out because you had a really small dick. And he was like, whoa, hold on. She said, I had a small dick. And he was like, yeah. He's like, no. She had the biggest vagina I've ever seen in my life. Like it's just hilarious, man. That's just enough. Like you guys got to get in it, man. It's great, dude.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. See, but it's also it's kind of like Seinfeld in a way, but just like raunchier, right? I mean, because like I feel like people say that like it's like little observational comedy like that, because that's a funny observation where like, yeah, like what if a girl really just does have a really above average sized vagina, and then you might be average, but you feel fucking like 2 inches inside of the Grand Canyon over there. You know what I mean? So it's like that's so fucking hilarious. It's so funny.
So it's a hit for me, and it sounds like it's a hit for Chris. And I guess maybe it's just hits for y'all too.
I trust your judgment on this one.
So I guess
get on it, bro.
We're kind of going a little long, so let's just get these last two sitcoms out of the way real quick. Just put a few words in on them, and then we can wrap this thing up because we've been going on for a while. It's because we haven't seen each other in such a long time.
I know.
So the next one is Boy Meets World.
Oh, hit, dude. Fucking like you grew up watching it, and that's one of the shows where like I didn't even realize it had a laugh track. I would just like laugh along with it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I haven't watched that. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I feel like if you go back, it'd still be funny to you,
Oh
like
yeah, dude. I had a crush on Topanga, the whole thing, dude. Come on, Topanga.
Yeah,
man.
I'm gonna go shit, and I actually rewatched it because I got the Disney Plus thing a few months ago, and I rewatched the series, and it holds up pretty much. There's a few like scenes here and there where like that's pretty dated, but for the most part, it still holds up.
Pretty racist, Marlon.
It's a hit, man. I mean, I will admit that half a good chunk of it is like nostalgia, but I got Layla into it. We got Disney Plus also, and we watched the whole thing with her, and she loved it too. And there's not a single episode where I was like nervous about her watching something, because I mean the show still made me laugh. And it made her laugh. And I noticed a bunch of jokes from it that went over my head as a kid
at the time.
Time that I got I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then, but it's I mean, it's one of those shows that you can
family friendly. Yeah.
Yeah. You can enjoy with your kids and still get something out of it, which is it's a good thing. There's not a lot of shows that you can like watch, makes you laugh, honestly makes you laugh, and still get something good out of it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it's hit for me as well, man. Like I think it's a big hit with all of us. It's like it was very, very funny, and also you're just like Topanga. We all had crushes on her, and just like you guys always wanted to find that relationship, right? The Corey and Topanga. Like I want that Corey and Topanga. You know what I mean? Like that was like such a big yeah, for sure. And then I felt like you guys, like, I don't know, it's kind of like as the characters progress, like you kind of grew with them too. And it was just like such a funny show, such a good show.
Yeah.
Hit for me. And then the last one is Fresh Prince.
It's dude, just the intro song alone, it's a fucking hit, bro. Like, name a better fucking intro song for any fucking sitcom ever. Like, it's a hit, man. That show, dude, I remember watching it like when I was a kid growing up, and I don't even remember a lot of it. Like, I really don't. Like, I can't really sit here and like tell you, oh, remember this episode and that episode. I just remember like watching it, and it was funny, and it was also serious at times. Like, I remember it being serious at times as well. But like, dude, that song, bro, like, it's iconic. Like, that song comes on at a bar fucking in 2020, people are gonna get fucking down, dude.
We should. I don't think I've ever heard it at a played at a bar. We should probably do it.
I've heard it karaoke several times. several times karaoke.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, it would piss me off at karaoke, bro. Don't fucking karaoke that goddamn song, dude. Let it be, man. You know.
Let it be. Let it be.
Let it be.
Hey, ever since we've been working from home for like because of the COVID stuff, I always keep the TV on during the day, like just for background noise, because it feels weird to like just be sitting here in the quiet the whole day. And so I recently discovered they actually show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air like from 8 to noon on VH1. So basically all morning they show Fresh Prince. So I've been like binge watching it. And yeah, it's still pretty funny. It's like very 90s, but it's really cool. Like, it has that nostalgia factor too.
Yeah, it's a hit for sure, man. I mean, I haven't rewatched it, but I haven't rewatched, the all the episodes like I used to watch them, but I did rewatch that little scene when Will's biological father comes and promises to take him away, and I mean, it's like a very famous. It's even become like a meme.
Yeah.
So
I remember LeBron tweeted about it, like, because it made it. He said it made him feel like the way he felt about his dad growing up, which is like pretty fucking sad.
And
makes sense.
Yeah, like I watched it, dude, and I was like choking up as I was watching it. Like at 30 years old, I was still like, damn, dude, that's some real life shit right there. That's good.
Sure.
Yeah, man, and hit for me as well. When you're growing up, I like Chris though. I forget a lot of episodes and a lot of the shit that happened. But I've watched it. If it's on, I'll put it on, and it's still funny to me. So I think it's aged well, even though it's very 90s. I think it's still super cool. So it's definitely a hit for me.
Boom.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of LeBron, did you watch that Michael Jordan documentary, Mike?
No, I was.
You realize Michael Jordan's better than LeBron?
He's not better,
bro. When Michael Jordan hangs there, like,
we're not getting into it. We're not getting into it.
Everybody jumps at the same time, and then everybody falls, and Michael Jordan's still hanging in the air and just like makes jays people in their face. And
he's not He's a goddamn demigod, bro.
Dude, he is, dude. And bro, when you watch the documentary, Mike, you will realize, bro, the way that they used to be able to fucking just straight up murder dudes in the paint, like, you used to fucking be able to just mug guys. Like, it is crazy, man, how much softer the NBA is now compared to that. It is crazy. So, dude, I will admit that, like, because we didn't really see Michael Jordan a lot. Like, we were younger. We were all younger.
Yeah, we were super young. And so you forget about the greatness. Yeah, you forget about the greatness.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Because we didn't witness it like firsthand in adulthood. Like, when you witness shit now, you're gonna remember forever. But whenever you're a little kid, you're like, oh, Michael Jordan was the greatest thing. What was that movie? Space Jam was great.
Space Jam.
Right?
Greatest actor on earth.
When people watch the documentary, I think they're gonna like, everybody that watches it is going to realize, like, oh, this guy was just, it's not even fair. Like, he's just a different
What
thing.
documentary?
He was just a different thing.
What documentary is this?
The Last Dance. ESPN.
The Last Dance.
Dude, so I remember my uncle, my uncle's a big basketball fan, and he took me to like my first NBA game and stuff. And I remember one time he was like, man, all these, it was like a few years ago, man. It was like Kobe was still playing. Rest in peace, Kobe. I love you, baby.
All right.
But Kobe and everybody's like, and LeBron was in the league and everything. He's like, all these guys are great. He was like, he was like, all these guys are great. He's like, but they're not Jordan, man. You didn't see Jordan play. You know, he's like, yeah, it's kind of true.
It's kind of a bummer, man. It kind of bums me out that we didn't get to see Jordan in his prime, like live. It's like I missed out on something. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Oh yeah, we kind of did, but we just don't remember it.
Michael Jordan,
I mean, but like you weren't
hitter
there.
shit.
Oh. Michael Jordan, hitter shit.
Is that all we got or what?
Yeah. I think that's all we got.
So that was hitter shit. That's all we got. That was hitter shit. It wasn't as controversial as I thought it was going to be. There wasn't a whole lot of debating going on. We all pretty much agreed. So I guess back to the drawing board to come up with something better. So when we do get into it,
yeah, bro.
I don't know. We do have differing opinions for the most part.
Stay tuned, dude. Next episode, abortion, hitter shit. We'll fucking get to.
I threw out the idea last time for of doing chick flicks for hitter shit. So I think that might be a little more likely.
Chick flicks would be a good one.
Yeah, we'll do that one.
Fucking debate mean girls and shit.
Choose hitter shit. Get real controversial for you guys.
Damn.
Jews. God damn.
Got racist.
I'm gonna go with hit.
Larry David's Jewish. I'm gonna have to go with a hit as well.
I guess not so controversial.
Yeah. Damn, man.
All right. Puerto Ricans. Hit or shit. Hey, that's not
all right. Save it for the next episode.
Argentinians. I know, like Mexicans hate from Argentina.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll come back with better and stronger and more controversial topics next time, guys. Anyways, we are the Well-Mannered Cartel. We never officially said our names. I'm Tom.
I'm Mike.
Marlon.
I'm Chris.
Peace.
Later, guys. See you next time. Chase your white dreams.